Hey everybody, in this video I'm gonna review Frankfurt am Main, Germany. I went to Frankfurt back in 2006 during the World Cup. It was a very interesting time to pass through the city. There was so many, football fans from all over the world, and I was really impressed by the Croatia fans. There was a lot of them, and they were all waving flags, and it was kind of really interesting. So I flew to Frankfurt am Main from Los Angeles, and I was really impressed by the airport. I thought it's very big and modern. Frankfurt is probably one of the main airport transfer stations in Europe. So people are flying from all over and transferring there. The final destination is not Frankfurt for a lot of the flights, or I should say for a lot of the passengers, which was in my case as well. I was actually flying through there to go to Bulgaria. So I was really impressed. Frankfurt has the reputation of being the finance capital of Germany, and but not much is really, you don't really hear much about it otherwise, at least I don't. So the financial part is true. There's a lot of skyscrapers and a lot of modern buildings. So it's the city is very modern and very interesting. I believe, I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly, but I think I took a subway either from the airport or maybe later. But the I should say I took a subway. So the subway was pretty modern, really good. And I remember that, my first impressions of Frankfurt are actually surprisingly, it reminded me a lot about Sofia, Bulgaria. It kind of has the same feel. It's very pedestrian, and in a lot of places there are squares and streets like lined up with shops, and it's kind of really interesting. It has a little bit to do with Sofia, and a lot of Germans told me that they don't like Frankfurt. To me, it's really one of my favorite cities in the world that I've seen so far. It has some of the traditional German city feel. There are certain squares where there's traditional houses, but also it has a lot of modern houses and skyscrapers and office buildings, banks, and things like that. So it's a really, really interesting mix. Um, I did try the food. A friend of mine gave me a dish. He was working in a restaurant in the downtown area, and the food was kind of interesting. It was kind of a mix of different things. I wouldn't call it German. Maybe the place was like that. It was kind of serving not exactly fast food, but it was kind of a mix of like some seafood and some rice and some chips and things like that. So it was kind of a mix, a little bit of everything. During the World Cup at that time in Germany, there were a lot of foreigners and a lot of football fans, and the obviously, a lot of people were drinking beer all over the place, and the atmosphere was kind of festive, and it was like a party atmosphere basically everywhere. And you know, I didn't feel endangered in any way. it was really, everybody seemed very friendly, and it was kind of a party scene. So I was really impressed with Frankfurt. If you happen to, if you're able to, I strongly recommend you that you visit it. It's a really nice German city, and obviously it's the name is means that it's on a river, and it's there's a few bridges over the river. I crossed one of the bridges, and it's really beautiful, and it seemed clean. Um, I'm really curious about people and history and culture and things like that, and I was curious about the Turkish people in Germany, and actually in one of the streets I was walking on, there was literally one side of the street was all lined up with I believe Turkish shops. So there was a lot of Turkish shop owners on one street, I think near the river. Um, so it was kind of interesting for me to. We keep hearing about the Turkish people in Germany, so but I've actually never met anyone. So it was interesting for me to see them, and I wondered what they look like, you know. And based on my experience there, they're exactly like Turkish people in Turkey. You know, no difference. They were speaking Turkish and looked Turkish, and you know, there was nothing German about them. So that was my impression of them. That was my experience at that time. Um, and I had a smooth time going to the airport and flying out. The airport, as I mentioned, is very modern, very big, and convenient. So please feel free to comment with your impressions of Frankfurt and what you thought of it when you visited. Um, and please subscribe, because I'll be uploading more new videos soon. Thank you, and see you in the next one. Bye.